Marqués de Murrieta is a world-class producer that was founded way back in 1852. This historic producer is located near Logroño in the Rioja Alta subzone. Marqués de Murrieta has a massive 740-hectare estate with numerous single vineyards. These single vineyards have diverse soil types, and they're located at elevations ranging from 320 to 485 meters above sea level. The Marqués de Murrieta vineyards are divided into around 60 parcels, each of which are farmed separately, and the fruit from each of these parcels is also vinified separately, which gives them tremendous ability to be precise with their blending. Marqués de Murrieta uses an extremely strict selection process. In addition to making a selection of fruit in the vineyard and discarding fruit that does not meet their standards, they also use optical sorting equipment, and they also do separate density testing as well. In 2021, Marqués de Murrieta completed a brand new state-of-the-art winery. They're extremely innovative with their winemaking. In fact, they have 5 different patents on different technology used in the winemaking process. For example, one of the patents is for a unique punch-down machine that allows the grapes to be punched down without breaking the skins. This is an extremely gentle technique and is one reason that the Marqués de Murrieta wines have such silky, refined tannins even in their youth. Marqués de Murrieta has a massive wine cellar that stores an incredible 9 million liters of wine, 6 million of which are in bottle and another 3 million of which are in barrel. The wines are only released when they are ready to drink, and their higher-end wines are only produced if they meet their lofty standards. If not, the fruit is declassified and it goes into a bottling that's a lower cost wine. With that by way of background, I'll briefly discuss each of the wines in the Marqués de Murrieta lineup, the first of which is their flagship wine, the Marqués de Murrieta Reserva. This is a wine that's produced every single vintage. It's their highest production wine by far. This wine is always a Tempranillo dominant blend, and it typically also includes some Graciano, Mizuelo, and a small amount of Garnacha. The 2021 vintage is the current release, and it's absolutely a tremendous effort. This wine is an incredible value at around $25 to $30 per bottle. For a wine at this modest price point, this wine was extremely well received by critics, and it also held its own during an impressive tasting lineup that I had at the winery. In fact, it's hard for me to identify any other wine in the world that offers more value at around the $25 or $30 price point than the 2021 Marqués de Murrieta Reserva. This wine has pronounced aromatic intensity and flavors and aromas that include mixed red fruit, cedar, and floral notes. There's ample acidity and freshness and silky refined tannins. This is a wine that you can enjoy immediately, but it's also capable of aging for an extended period of time. In fact, just a couple years ago, I had some expressions of this wine back from the 1980s, and they were still showing well. Next up is the Marqués de Murrieta Gran Reserva. The current release is from the cooler 2016 vintage. This wine is around 82% Tempranillo, and there's smaller amounts of Graciano and Mizuelo. This is an extremely impressive wine. It matures for around 26 months in American oak and spends the rest of its time in bottle before it is released. Compared to the Reserva, this wine just has a little bit more of everything. This wine was highly acclaimed and received favorable scores from all the critics who reviewed it. It sells for around $75 per bottle in the United States. In vintages where an exceptional wine can be produced, Marqués de Murrieta also produces the Castillo Ygay Gran Reserva. The current release is the 2012 vintage. The fruit for this special wine comes from a single vineyard with very old vines that average more than 80 years of age. It's called the Plana, and it's at the highest elevation within the Ygay estate. The 2012 vintage is a blend that consists of 81% Tempranillo and 19% Mizuelo. The Tempranillo matures for 34 months in 225-liter American oak barrels, while the Mizuelo matures in French barriques. After blending, this wine matures for another year in concrete, followed by at least 2 more years in bottle, and is only released once it's ready to drink. Of course, while you can enjoy this wine now, particularly with a healthy decant, this is an extraordinarily age-worthy wine. In fact, at the winery, I tried the 1968 and it was absolutely phenomenal. So this is a wine that can age for decades effortlessly and will be there and be ready to enjoy whenever you want to open it. As mentioned, the current release is the 2012 vintage. This is truly one of the elite wines that's made in the entire world. It sells for around $275 per bottle. They also produced this wine in 2010 and also 2011. It's extremely unusual for them to produce 3 vintages in a row, and in fact, they won't produce another one until the 2016 vintage. So if you have any interest in the Castillo Ygay Gran Reservas, you definitely want to act now and make sure you stock up on these last 3 vintages because there's going to be a long drought ahead. Marqués de Murrieta also produces another world-class wine that's called Dalmau. This is a wine that was first produced in the 1994 vintage. Somewhat unusually, this wine even includes Cabernet Sauvignon in the blend. Cabernet Sauvignon is extremely rare in Rioja, and these vines are grandfathered in due to their extreme age, so they are not able to replant them. This wine comes from fruit that's located in a single vineyard that's located at fairly high elevation, around 465 meters above sea level. This single vineyard is called Canajes, and it's dominant in Tempranillo, which typically comprises around 80% of the blend. The Cabernet Sauvignon is oftentimes around 10 to 15%, and then there's smaller amounts of Graciano as well. This wine is very much made in a modern style and is definitely fruit-forward and elegant. It matures for around 17 months in French oak barriques, and then another 13 months or so in concrete vats. I tried the 2020 vintage, which is showing well already, but which certainly has a long life ahead of it. This wine features flavors and aromas that include mixed blue and black fruit, floral notes, and mixed spice. All the Marqués de Murrieta wines that I've discussed so far have been red wines, but they also make one of the truly elite white wines in the world, and it's called Capellania. Capellania is 100% Vieira, and this Vieira comes from extremely old vines, some of which were planted more than 100 years ago. The Capellania vineyard is around 15 hectares, and it's planted at the highest elevation on the Ygay estate, around 485 meters above sea level. One quick side note, viewers of this channel and fans of Marqués de Murrieta are undoubtedly aware that in extremely special vintages, Marqués de Murrieta produces a Castillo Ygay Gran Reserva Blanco. When that happens, this is the fruit that goes into that wine. The most recent vintage was 1986. Currently, they're considering whether or not to release a 1998 vintage of the Castillo Ygay Blanco Gran Reserva Especial. But at least as of the time I visited the winery about a week ago, no decision has been made yet as to whether they will produce that wine, and if so, when it will be released. For those of you who have tried the Castillo Ygay Gran Reserva Blanco, this Capellania wine is definitely a little bit different. This wine has been made since 2001 or so, and this wine is less oxidative. It's a little bit more fresh and fruit forward, and there's less oak influence. In fact, when I was at the winery, I saw the 2025 vintage of Capellania fermenting in concrete. Current release is the 2019 vintage, which was well received by critics. This is a mineral-driven wine that features flavors and aromas of apple, pear, citrus, blossom, and herbs, with ample acidity and a long lingering finish. I've published a number of other videos on Rioja and Spanish wines generally that I'll link in the description below. But if you'd like to learn more about Priorat, which is another outstanding region in Spain, please be sure to check out this video that's linked above.